Good morning, everyone. It is Sunday, the 29th, I think. At any case, it's the Sunday after Christmas. And I am back with a few makes. The one thing I am always bad about in these videos is introducing myself. I know most of you know who I am, but for those of you who don't, my name is Robin, and this is Knotting Hook Crochet. And welcome to the channel. So let's just jump right into this. Well, no, we're not going to jump right into this. I got to tell you a little story first. So yesterday, Saturday the 28th, that is my grandson's birthday. He turned 3. So Jenna and I went down to St. Pete for his birthday party, which was at Chuck E. Cheese. And he's just a tad bit too young for that. He was so, overwhelmed with all the stimulation in the room. He wanted to get on every single one of those games, and I felt so bad for Nicole, his mom. She couldn't get him to sit to blow out a candle. He wouldn't sit and eat. It's not that he was being bratty or anything. He just wanted to go and play. He was ready to just run and be into everything. No temper tantrums or anything like that. So you get to reserve the space for 2 hours, and when the time was up, the guy comes over and he says, okay, you need to start packing up now. And she hadn't even cut into the cake or anything. Now, everybody that was there, all the guests, it was all adults. There weren't any little kids there. So, everybody understood what was going on. But while we were there in St. Pete, and around the corner and maybe a quarter of a mile up the road was a Joann. So we went to Joann, and I walk in the door and you can see the yarn right off the bat. It's dead center of the store, right up front. Here's the cashiers, here's the yarn. And I was in such awe the amount of yarn that they had in stock. When I go to the stores, kind of around me, the closest ones for me, they're usually so picked over there's nothing to choose from. Now, Joann, they don't really have the real soft stuff. It's basically Bernat or Big Twist Plush or Posh, or maybe some Juicy Couture velvet that I would get from them. But they had 4 aisles. This side, this side, this side, this side. 4 aisles of Bernat and Big Twist Plush. And I was just standing there just amazed at all the color choices. And I was in there for quite a while because I kid you not, I touched every single color because I wanted to feel it and see, are we getting old formula or new formula? Because the older stuff really bothers my hands to work with. I still have a little bit of that left, and I'm using it, but it's very spread out. Otherwise, my hands will be out of commission. So I needed a few colors, and of course I had a gift card, a Visa gift card, just burning a hole in my pocket that I got for Christmas. So I needed some white, some black, a yellow, a mustard, a few things like that. And of course they're out of stock on Mystical. I wanted some of that, but they didn't have any. So I'm going through and I find the black and I'm feeling them. So I pick out a couple of soft ones in the black, and I get a regular yellow and a couple of mustard yellows, and oh gosh, this gorgeous variegated green color. I forget what it's called. And this one that came in a cake that's got yellows and oranges in it. It was just so pretty. I don't know what I'll use it for, but the colors, I was just so drawn to the colors. So the only thing that I needed that they didn't have was just plain old white. They did not have white. They had vanilla. They had antique white, but they didn't have any regular white. So I was unsuccessful on getting white in Bernat. So I did get one in the Plush, just so that I would have a white. So I'll have to pick and choose. You be careful which ones that I use with it, because the big twist can be a little thicker than some of the Bernat. But I've mixed the two together before and had no problem with it. But yeah, I just stood there. I wish I would have thought and busted out the camera and took some video for you, because I was just amazed to actually be in a store that their yarn section was stocked. It was amazing. So then we make the long drive home, and I brought it in, and y'all would be so proud of me. I put it away right away. I did not leave it sitting in bags. My one bottom empty shelf that was empty is now full, but it was put away. So that's the first step in keeping my stuff organized. So I think I told you last time that I had a cow lovey on my hook. So I finished it, and I did not use the pink this time. Although I do think I found a pink yesterday that would be the right color for the muzzle. I think the pink I used on my other one was just the wrong shade. I'll test it out and see. So I didn't use pink on this one, and I was trying to do it a black and white cow, and I did get a little confused when it came to the head getting the colors right. So, it's okay. I couldn't follow her color, like the directions. I had to like kind of reverse it from what the body was, if that makes any sense. So I got a little confused, and it's still okay. So this is that cow lovey. I used the, whatever color this is, taupe, beige, sand, I don't know. I need to start, if I find a color that I like, I need to save the label so that I know that's the one I want to reorder for when I go to reorder. And I just realized I forgot his tail. So he's not finished. He needs a tail. But I did add some little horn buds up here, and I just did a standing bobble stitch to put those in. So what do you think about this color for the muzzle? See how this is what I was talking about. I got like backwards confused. I just got myself mixed up on those because I was trying to do my own thing with the pattern written a different way, and I got lost. But it happens. He's still cute, I think. So we did that. And then what did I do next? Oh, I was talking with Heather because I was watching her live on Wednesday, and she bought a chicken and egg pattern, which is different from my chicken and egg, and it's different from the pattern that the Cozy Buckeye is using. I'm not sure what pattern Stacy uses, but it was different. And I asked her who the designer was, so I was checking out their Etsy, and they had what I thought was going to be the cutest little gator in an egg. And I thought, how perfect for Florida. Little baby alligators in an egg. So I bought it, paid way too much for it, and I do not like it. I mean, it's not horrible. I was very confused. It took me, I had to frog a little bit to figure out what I was doing. Because like you start with, you're starting down here. and you're working around, and then you get to a point where you join the 2 rounds, and then it tells you to start working again, and then, but it doesn't tell you after you fold it in half and join the 2 which part you are working on. So that was a guess. So it's like 3 tries, and then I got it. And then he turns out with his head crooked. Don't know if that's how it's supposed to be, but I can tell you I tried it again, and he turned out with his head crooked. And I wasn't real thrilled with how his little nose turned out, so I tried doing a smaller bobble, and this one looked better than this one. What I ended up doing to make it not look like it was butt cheeks on his nose is I had to run a stitch through and like try and cinch it together closer so there wasn't a big gap right here. I don't know. So then I said, well, let me go ahead and make the egg. So I'd go to do the egg, and I'm sorry, but this doesn't look like an egg. It looks like a pill. Like, it's not, you know how eggs are? They're like that. This looks like a pill. I don't like it. Now, maybe if I could get this part where I'm happy with how this looks, maybe I could use just the gator part of it and forget the egg. But yeah, I was not happy with this pattern. And this is a chunk plush crochet pattern. I mean, it's just personal preference. It's nothing against the designer. I just didn't care for the pattern. And I forgot to say this was BK, the letter B, K-A-Y crochet. That is her pattern. So I don't know that I am going to make more of these or not. I don't know. Maybe I'll play with it with some scrap yarn and see if I can come to some kind of compromise with it where I would be happy with it. I'm just too picky. What can I say? So then I abandoned the gators, and because I was cleaning up my yarn, I'm like, I have all these little pieces of scraps. I'm going to make myself a patchwork critter, but I wasn't sure what kind of patchwork critter I wanted to make. So when I was chatting with Mary, she says, we'll make a bear. And I'm like, I don't know if I have a bear pattern, you know, because teddy bears are common. So it wasn't something that I gravitated towards. And then I remembered, oh, wait, yes, I do have a teddy bear pattern. Actually, I have a couple of them. One was for a fishing bear, and the other was Crochet Grove's bear. So I dug into my hot mess of a basket that have all my scraps and partial skeins, and anything that was bigger, more, you know, more close to a full skein, not, you know, real tiny, I put back on the shelves with their colors, and that like emptied the basket out a lot. So I just picked out a bunch of colors, and each piece, like one ear is one color, the other ear is a different color, the head is a different color, the muzzle is a different color, each arm is a different color, each leg is a different color. So I did everything a different color and just assembled it the way it said to assemble it. And this is my little patchwork bear. Now I did the paw pads all the same color, and I think he turned out pretty cute like that. It was hard. It's like, all right, well, this color looked good next to that color. It was harder than I thought. And then most of my scraps are a darker color. And because like I started with the head and I used those light colors, I didn't want to go real dark. So the darkest it got was the paw, the pads on the paws, feet, legs, arms, whatever you want to call them. And then, of course, the body. But I had to pick a color that I knew there was enough of it to do the body without having to bust into a new skein. Otherwise, that would have defeated the purpose of making the patchwork and trying to use up scraps. So then I decided I want to try it on another one because I think he turned out really cute. So I pulled out Madeline Mako's elephant pattern. And I will say I am not as pleased with this one as I am the bear. One, because this one is, I do it in Sweet Snuggles Light. There aren't as many colors in Sweet Snuggles Light as there are in the Parfait Chunky. And I don't know. I just don't think it turned out as nice. I mean, he's still cute, but I don't think he turned out as good. So here is the patchwork elephant. And it might be, my problem might be because, like, this is the body and then the head and everything is all crocheted one piece. These are separate. You sew everything on, except for the ears. You don't have to sew the ears on. Those are crocheted in. These, all of it is crocheted in, like the arms, the ears, but the legs are with the body. And then, I don't know. I just wasn't as thrilled with this one as this one. I mean, it's cute, but not as cute as this. What do you do? I got to use up some scraps, and maybe somebody will love him and take him home. So we did those two. Elephant was Madeline Mako, and the bear was Crochet Grove. And then I decided, you know, I am so out of order with these because I made the cow, and then I made something, the gators, and then another lovey. But even before I did the cow, I had finished one I hadn't shown you yet, but we'll get there. So then I was like, I want to make another lovey. And I wanted to do a chick, but I didn't have yellow. And I didn't have enough white. So I was like, what can I use? I didn't have, and still don't have, a really good orange in like the Bernat or the Big Twist. I thought about using the Premier Basics Chenille Brights orange, but this yarn was a little thicker. It wouldn't have meshed well because I would have had to do the feet and the beak the same color. So still in the scrap mode, let's use up the scraps. We pulled out the Mama Made Minis little chick pattern, the one that you buy separate, not the one in the book, and we made it using this. So I have a little bit of this left, and this is the not as soft Bernat, so I can only do a little bit at a time with it. And then I use this kind of rusty color for the feet, the beak, and the comb. And instead of giving him a little nubby tail, I just kind of made him a little ruffle tail. Gave him his little winky sleepy eyes. And I don't know, I think he turned out cute. I like those colors. I mean, I really like the colors of this. I just don't like the difficulty in working with this yarn. So what I ended up doing is the 7mm for the head, the 8mm for the body, and wings and feet were 8mm. So there was a point to that, and I don't remember what it was. But now we have a chick lovey, and I don't know, I like him. This probably should have been red, but I thought this color went so well with the main color of the yarn. I like him. So we did 2 loveys this week. So the next one is a free pattern, but it's one that you get from Ko-fi. It's by Shine Crafts, and it's free, but it gives you the option of tipping. And for the amount of work that she had to put into this pattern, she definitely deserves to be tipped. Don't snag it up for free. She definitely deserves a tip. So, I made Appa. Do you know who Appa is? I don't. Not really. I just know that it's a character on Avatar, and it's something that Jenna enjoys. That's all I know about it. So, this is my Appa. It is a flying bison. There is a lot of sewing involved in this. You make the body, you make the head, you sew on the muzzle, you stitch the nose on top of the muzzle, you sew on the ears, you sew on the horns, you sew on all 6 legs, and you sew on this tail. So in the pattern, this part here, the arrow and the stripe, they do with felt. Well, we all know my thoughts on felt. If I cut it, it's going to look like a kindergartner cut it. So I just winged it and crocheted my own little arrow thing to go across the helmet and down the back. And I just kept placing it on there. Is it long enough yet? Is it long enough yet? Until I got it to where I wanted it. So did the triangle part first and then cut my yarn and started back over so it would be centered for the stripe, and then just went from there. And these little short rows back and forth, back and forth. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, I think it's 5 or 6 stitches. But he turned out pretty good. The only problem that I had, and I have this with a lot of them, you line up the head to where you're going to sew them on, and it does this little shift thing. Well, because the head has the brown and then the body has the brown, I thought I had it centered, but it did shift a little, and one side looks further back than the other side, but the legs kind of hide that. So if I were to make this again, I would probably do the body and then work backwards on the head. Start with the last round first and just work my way up so that I can keep my brown part, in my case toffee, part lined up better, more centered. So that is what I would probably try if I make it again. So this was requested when somebody saw Momo. They're like, oh, you should make Appa. If you make Appa, it'll definitely sell. And I'm like, what the heck is an Appa? So I had to have a discussion with Jenna. What is an Appa? So it is a flying bison. Oh. But it's kind of cute. These people are so creative when they come up with these characters for these shows. But yeah, I think he turned out fairly well. So like I said, this was Shine Crafts, and she has her Ko-fi shop. And it is technically, it's a free pattern, but it's also in there that you can, like, how much do you want to pay for this? Like a tip. And if you're going to get it, tip her, because people who don't write patterns don't realize how much work goes into a pattern. And, some of them take off, some of them don't. Some of them they, make a lot of money on, and some of them they make pennies on. But I know she had to put a lot into that, because that took a lot of thought to come up with how to do that and put it all together. So she definitely deserves to be tipped if you get the pattern. And then, after we got home yesterday from the birthday party, and I got my yarn put away, yay me, I wanted to make another pig. Because I finally sold the pig wearing the floaty, but I wanted to do it different. I wanted to do a standing pig. So when I'm looking through the pattern, because it gives you like, this is how you make the body if you're doing a sitting. This is how you make it if you're doing standing. It said, if you want to make it a lovey, don't stuff the body. And I thought, oh, how cute would that be to have a little pig lovey? So I busted out the Bernat. By the time I got the head done, this massive head, I said, change of plans. This cannot be a lovey unless it's a giant's infant. It's big. So I changed it up and made myself a kind of a little version of a Harley hog, because he is really big. So it was a guessing game on what size eyes to use. I don't know if you can see, but they are green and they are 28 millimeter. Now, I'm trying to decide. I think possibly this needs some nostrils, but I think black would be too stark. So if I use the same color that I used on the little pig's feet, would that work? So I'm like, in February, I'm doing the market. It's for that high school, their band fundraiser, but they're doing an old car show. But this year they're having it at a Harley Davidson dealership. So I already had it in my mind that I wanted to make one of the pigs and give it the hat and a vest so that it kind of looked like a hog. So since I had this big, giant, massive pig head, see, look how big that is. Let me just do it with this one and give it a shot. So this hat is a modified version of Chase from Paw Patrol, from that hat. And this vest is a modified version. When it was super simple, I just looked at the pattern to like, okay, now how did we do that? Okay, yeah. You know, I had to make it bigger and adjust, like I couldn't follow the exact thing. But it's from the One Piece characters patterns. So it's got a little vest. Now, it'd be really cool if I could get my hands on like a little Harley patch or something to put on the back of the vest, but those are usually pretty big, so I think it might be too much for that. I don't know. But that would be pretty cool to be able to get the Harley patch and stitch it on there. So, yeah. But, so what do you think? Nostrils? Yes? No? This color? I think black would be too stark. And I don't want to throw another pink in there. But that's that pink. And it doesn't look very pink on camera. It's Blush Pink by Bernat that I think would be a good color for that part of the cow muzzle. Because this is the color I used on the other one, and it just kind of like, I thought it was too pink. But this, I think, would be a really good color because it's pink, but it doesn't scream pink, if you know what I mean. Anyways, so I did that. I don't know what I want to make today. I have one small little area that I want to work on in my cleaning process before I start making anything. So I think I will do that first. I might just pick another plushie and do another, I'll show this one because he's cuter, do another patchwork type plush to try and use up some of those scraps. I probably definitely won't be doing any more of these. Just personal preference. I mean, it might work out great for somebody else, but I wasn't thrilled with it. But that was my makes. You know, I did, when I made this, it was the only thing I made for the day. When I made this, it was the only thing I made for the day. This I started one day, finished the next. I think I did these two on the same day. This I messed with after I finished the cow lovey. And this was like a last minute thing on Friday night that I just threw that together. So productive, but not overly productive, if you know what I'm saying. Anywho, what's the good word? All right, you guys, that is what I have today. And if I don't see you before the new year, you have a happy, safe New Year's Eve and a very happy New Year. We'll see you in the next video.